He was 58 years old when he looked in the mirror and didn't recognize himself, not his face. He knew his face, but the person behind it was a complete stranger. How does that happen? How do you lose yourself while everyone's watching? His name was William, 58 years old, vice president at a manufacturing firm in Manchester. 33 years with the same company. Perfect employee. Always arrived early, never missed a deadline, never said no to overtime. Perfect husband. 32 years married to Olivia. Never forgot an anniversary. Fixed things around the house. Provided well. Did everything right. Perfect father. 2 children, now grown, Matthew and Sophie. He went to every school play, every parent-teacher meeting, paid for their universities, gave them everything they needed. On paper, William's life was a success story. But here's what nobody tells you about being perfect for everyone else. You disappear. Not all at once, so slowly you don't even notice, until one day you're just gone. For 30 years, William had one question that guided every decision. What do they need from me? At work, what does my boss need? What do my colleagues need? What will make them happy? At home, what does Olivia need? What do the kids need? How can I be what they want? He learned to read rooms, to sense what people wanted before they said it, to become exactly who they needed him to be. With his boss, he was competent and agreeable, never caused problems, never pushed back, the reliable one. With his wife, he was practical and steady, fixed the leaky tap, paid the bills, said, "Yes, dear," more times than he could count. With his children, he was the provider, the problem solver, the ATM machine, if he was honest. And it worked. Everyone was happy with him. But somewhere along the way, a question stopped being asked. What do I need? What do I want? Who am I? He couldn't remember the last time he'd thought about himself, not in a selfish way, just thought about himself at all. 30 years of this. 30 years of being the perfect reflection of everyone else's needs. Perfect employee, perfect husband, perfect father, perfect stranger to himself. And then everything changed. The retirement party was on a Friday. 33 years, gold watch, speeches about how reliable he was, how he'd always been there. He smiled, said the right things, thanked everyone. And then, Monday morning, for the first time in 33 years, he didn't have to be anywhere at 7:30 a.m. No office, no meetings, no one needing him to be the reliable one. He sat at the kitchen table, drank his coffee, and realized he had no idea what to do with himself. The kids had moved out years ago. Matthew in London, Sophie in Edinburgh. Olivia had her book club, her pottery class, her friends. A whole life she'd built while he was busy being perfect at work. And William had nothing. Not because he didn't have time. He had all the time in the world now. But because he'd never asked, what do I enjoy? What interests me? What would I do if it was just for me? He tried golf. All the other retirees played golf. He hated it, but he kept playing because that's what you do when you retire, right? He tried watching TV, couldn't focus. His mind was too used to solving other people's problems. He tried helping around the house. Olivia gently told him she had her own systems. He was disrupting them. And then came the moment that broke everything open. He was shaving one morning, looked at himself in the mirror, and the thought hit him like a punch. Who are you? Not William the VP. That was gone. Not William the provider. The kids didn't need him anymore. Not William the husband. Olivia had her own life. Just William. Who was that? He stood there, razor in hand, staring at a 58-year-old stranger, and he couldn't answer the question. He'd spent 30 years being a character in other people's stories. The reliable colleague, the steady husband, the present father, All roles, all performances. But the actual person, the one underneath all those masks, he had no idea. And that terrified him more than retirement, more than aging, more than death. He'd lost himself, and he didn't even know when it happened. That night, William did something he hadn't done in decades. He asked himself questions, and he wrote down the answers, even when they scared him. What do I actually enjoy? He wrote, I don't know. When was the last time I did something just for myself? He couldn't remember. What would I do if no one was watching? If no one cared? If I didn't have to be perfect? That question opened something. He started small, tentatively, like learning to walk again. He went to a bookshop, alone, spent 2 hours just browsing, bought 3 books nobody recommended, just ones that interested him. Fantasy novels. He'd always thought they were silly, but he'd loved them as a teenager. He read them, enjoyed them, didn't tell anyone. It felt like a secret rebellion. He tried cooking, not practical meals, creative cooking. Complicated recipes he'd never have made for the family. They took hours. He made mistakes. He didn't care. He walked past an art supply shop, remembered he used to draw as a kid, before life got serious, before he had to be responsible. He bought charcoal and paper. Felt ridiculous. A 58-year-old man buying child's art supplies. He drew at night when Linda was asleep. Terrible drawings at first, but his hands remembered something his mind had forgotten. And slowly, very slowly, a person began to emerge. Not the perfect employee, not the perfect husband or father, just William. Someone who liked fantasy novels and messy cooking and terrible drawings. Someone who had opinions, preferences, quirks. Someone who could say no without feeling guilty. Someone who could say, I want, without feeling selfish. At 61, 3 years after retirement, William joined a creative writing group. Not because anyone suggested it, not because it was productive or useful, but because he wanted to. He wrote about the man who forgot himself, and in writing about it, he remembered, Friend, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Not with me, with yourself. When was the last time you did something just for you? Not for your partner, not for your kids, not for your job, not because it was responsible or productive or what you should do, just for you. Because here's what happens when you spend your whole life being what other people need. You become very good at it. People love you for it. You're the reliable one, the selfless one, the one who always shows up. But one day, you'll wake up and realize you don't know who you are anymore. All those years of asking, what do they need? And never asking, what do I need? All those years of being the perfect employee, perfect parent, perfect partner, and you forgot to be yourself. I know what you're thinking, but that's just being a responsible adult. That's what you do. You put others first. You sacrifice. That's love. That's duty. And you're right, sort of. Yes, we have responsibilities. Yes, we love our families. Yes, we need to show up for work. But there's a difference between caring for others and disappearing into them. Robert spent 30 years being exactly what everyone needed, and when they didn't need him anymore, there was nothing left. You don't have to wait until you're 58. You don't have to wait until you retire. You don't have to wait until your kids leave. You can start asking right now, who am I? Not who your job tells you to be, not who your family needs you to be, not who society expects you to be. Just who are you? What do you actually enjoy? Not tolerate, not endure. Enjoy. What would you do if no one was watching? If no one judged? What voice inside you have you been ignoring for years? You are not just a role. You're not just an employee, a parent, a spouse. You're a person with desires, interests, quirks, dreams. And if you spend your whole life ignoring that person, you will lose them. Robert lost himself for 30 years, and it took 3 years to even begin finding himself again. 3 years of feeling awkward and selfish and ridiculous. But you know what he told me? I wish I'd started 30 years earlier. Don't wait 30 years. Don't wake up at 60 and realize you're a stranger to yourself. Start now. Start small. Do one thing this week just for you. Not because it's productive, not because anyone else benefits, just because you want to. Read that book, take that class, try that hobby. Say no to that obligation. Permission granted. Your life is not just about serving others. It's also about being yourself. And if you've forgotten who that is, it's time to remember. William is 63 now. He still loves his family. He's still there when they need him. But he also has his own life, his own interests, his own voice. He's writing a novel. It might never be published. He doesn't care. He joined a hiking group. Makes him feel alive. He says no now when he doesn't want to do something. It felt impossible at first. Now it feels like freedom. He's not perfect anymore. He's just himself, and that's enough. Thank you for sitting with me, friend. If you've been disappearing into what others need, consider this your reminder. You still exist. You're still in there. It's not too late to remember who you are. If this story felt personal, subscribe now and share your thoughts in the comments.